Welcome everybody to Forza Horizon 5, and today we're taking a look at the 2021 Lynk & Co. 03 Plus. Now, Lynk & Co. was founded in 2016. It's owned by Geely and is a Chinese-Swedish brand. The brand itself is actually based in Gothenburg in Sweden. And this is based on the standard 03, which started production in 2018. This performance version came out in June 2019, and the 03 itself is based on the CMA platform, which is shared with the likes of the Volvo XC40 and the Polestar 2. So, mass production kind of platform really, so it's not like a new platform or anything like that it's based on, so well proven platform. And to give it the performance edge that this car needs, it's got Akabono brakes, sticky Michelin tyres, all-wheel drive system, 8-speed automatic gearbox, adjustable carbon fibre front splitter and carbon fibre rear wing, and adjustable Bilstein dampers to go along with it. It's also got quad exhausts and plenty of power as well from its 2-litre turbocharged inline-4 engine, which produces 251 horsepower and 258 pounds-feet of torque. Now granted, that is not as much as some other sports saloon cars out there like the M5 or the M4 or anything like that, but this is a subcompact saloon car, so therefore everything's going to be a little bit on the smaller side, including interior and practicality. But yeah, it all looks very well done, really, well sorted. It's all got a nice looking interior. I like the yellow accenting to go with the bodywork on the outside, which will obviously change with the manufacturer depending on what body colour you have on the outside. The only other colour though you can have now is a bright blue. Unfortunately, it doesn't change the colour on the inside, so keeping it yellow, but looks all very good in here. And I like the fact that everything is pointing towards the driver, all very performance orientated, which is all nice to see. And got decent legroom in the back as well, where you get even more of the accenting. You also get the Lynk & Co. Logo on the back of the seats there as well. And the boot, though not the biggest in its class, is still pretty decent sized as well, as you'll see. So decent amount of practicality. And then you got the looks, which, although not the best looking sports saloon car going out there, it is certainly a head turner. For whether or not it's going to be for the right reasons or the wrong reasons is obviously going to come down to opinion, but I do really rather like the look of it. I have heard someone say that it looks like a Dodge Charger with extra headlights on top. I kind of can see that, to be honest, but still looks all good really, to be honest. And I really like the rear end as well. I like those rear lights and the spoiler that's going on, and obviously you got the quad exhaust to go with it, so all very sporty looking. But unfortunately what isn't sporty is the weight. It has despite being quite a small car for its class, it weighs 3,560 pounds, which is at least 200 or 300 pounds more than a car with this level of power should really be at, which is a bit of a shame. Does nullify some of the performance, but on the whole it is a really rather good performing car. So to see how good, let's get out onto the open road and see what this car can do. Now, one car you can compare this against is the XPeng P7, which again is another Chinese saloon car, but unlike that car, this is obviously got a combustion engine, whereas that is an all-electric vehicle. So it's a little bit different in that regard, but they're still a saloon car, still Chinese, still got all-wheel drive, and still performance orientated in some way. So but nonetheless, let's see what this can do on the drag strip before we hit the speed camera at the end, and then we'll go around the track. So the 8-speed gearbox is pretty lightning quick, but like I said, the amount of weight in this really does nullify some of the performance, which is a little bit of a shame. But once you do get going, it is plenty quick enough. So and as you can see, getting up to a gradual rate of speed there, 115 miles an hour near enough. So pretty good. But I did do a test, and obviously the XPeng can get up to its top speed of 118 miles an hour well before we hit the speed camera. So it's not as quick as that car in terms of acceleration and getting to its top speed, but this does have a higher top speed at the end of the day, having 8 gears to play with and a normal combustion engine. So it does have that over the XPeng. But let's get to the track and see what else is different between this and that car, because it's really decent comparison between, you know, old and new in terms of, you know, how to design a performance car. But yeah, let's take a look at the stats first before we go on the track. So we're in high-end B class, 679 PI. And yeah, they're the stats: speed, handling and launch are all really rather solid. Obviously the brakes are on the down low due to the additional weight over what you would expect in a car of this size and you know, general class, but still rather decent. But yeah, that acceleration is definitely on the down low, which is a bit of a shame, and it is quite weighty at the front, 60% front, 40% rear, which, yeah, for an all-wheel drive car I wouldn't have expected, quite frankly. Usually they're a little bit more balanced than that. So yeah, but obviously this is their first ever performance car, Lynk & Co, and usually they're doing the more basic kind of things. The basic 03 is particularly powerful, it's got less than 200 horsepower, and then the other cars are usually like crossovers and the like. So yeah, as far as first timers go, this is pretty good. But let's see what the engine sounds like, and then we'll talk about it some more. So yeah, pretty decent sounding engine, to be honest, and yeah, even though the acceleration isn't the best, like I said, once it gets going it is a pretty solid car all around in terms of performance. And yeah, even though the acceleration times aren't great, they aren't awful either. 0 to 60 in 5.9 seconds, 0 to 100 in 15.3 seconds, and it'll go to a top speed of 163 miles an hour. Now yes, granted that is a lot slower in terms of acceleration than the Xpeng, as that's, you know, doing 0 to 60 in less than 5 seconds and less than 9 seconds to 100, but that only has a top speed of 118, so this has that licked in that regard, and it has that licked in terms of handling and braking as well, because it weighs nearly £1,000 less than that Xpeng, and it shows in terms of how this handles, which is on the whole pretty damn good, to be honest. Yeah, it's got a hint of understeer here and there, but on the whole, yeah, it's got grippy tyres, the suspension isn't, you know, rolling all over the place. The brakes, even though they're not the best, are still pretty good, especially when you consider how much weight they're dealing with. And yeah, it's just generally quite fun to drive. So yeah, overall I am quite impressed with this car. And yeah, considering, you know, we've not had a performance orientated vehicle from China that is a combustion engine only car. You know, the only other two that we've had that are performance orientated are obviously the Neo EP9 and the Xpeng P7, which we'll be comparing this against. And now obviously all electric. Yeah, even though it's not the first combustion engine Chinese car we've had, the first was a Wuling Sunshine S. That is by no means a performance car. As quirky as I like that car, and as quirky as I think it is, yeah, it's not a performance car by any means. So yeah, to get a combustion engine performance car from China is a real special thing, and when it's as good as this, when it's Lynk & Co's first ever performance car, and as far as I know, it's the first performance-orientated combustion engine car from China, because I've never heard of any other ones like this, or anywhere near as quick as this. It's on the whole an impressive first. So yeah, not perfect. It's certainly not going to rival the likes of, you know, the long-established car makers that have done sports saloons many times before, like, you know, BMW or Mercedes or Audi or anything like that. But yeah, as something that's a little bit different and a little bit out there, it's on the whole really rather good. And yeah, like I've said before, I'm pretty sure I've said in previous videos, Asian car makers are coming out with car design you know, looks and all that are far more radical, far more interesting than their European counterparts. Because compare this to a BMW, for instance, it looks way more different, way more unusual, and way more of a head turner. So yeah, on the whole I am really rather impressed by this car, even if it's not perfect. So yeah, you can get this by getting 20 points in the current festival playlist. Easily done. Do the trial, which will get you 10 points, and a couple of the championships, and you'll be there in no time at all. So yeah, highly recommend getting it, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how this is to race in B class and A class, because yeah, I've been really enjoying driving cars in those games, and yeah, even though I don't think this is going to be a highly competitive car, it should be a really rather fun underdog car to drive, and I love driving an underdog on online races. So yeah, no less, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.